You know, Lightroom is such a big part of the photography process. I personally think that it is at least maybe 40 to 50% of the entire photography workflow. So today I want to walk you through some of the most classic mistakes I see people make all of the time on their photo edits, and how you can fix them and how you can avoid them in general. Not using reference images and guides to keep your colors and edits looking consistent is such an easy way to stand out as a beginner photo editor. There is a little trick that I like to use pretty much all of the time when I'm editing to keep things looking very, very consistent, if you will. So inside of Lightroom Classic here, you can see that we've got this shot right here, but I also like to keep a load of these, what I like to call color palettes, imported into Lightroom Classic as well. And these are edited images. They're just 2x2. I just stack them all together inside of Photoshop. And these are already edited images that I really like the colors and tones from. And then I have this shot here that is unedited. It's completely raw, and I would like to make this shot look like it would fit into this color palette right here. But how do I do that? Well, all you've got to do is make sure you can see this bar right here, this little soft proofing box, YYRA, and then this box right here. If you can't see it, all you've got to do is press T. That's going to hide it for me, but it might bring it up for you. I'm going to press T again, and then all of a sudden I can see this. And then what you want to do is select your photo that you want to edit, hit the RA, which is reference and active, that's what R stands for, and then drag and drop your color palette in here. So then you can dive in and start making all of your changes while easily being able to reference and see the color palette that you built before and understand exactly what changes you need to make to be able to make that image that you're editing right now fit into the color palette on the left. Now, if you don't have a load of edited images that you really, really like already that you can make a color palette of, guess what? You can go over to Instagram and screenshot some of your favorite photographers' colors and styles, put them into Photoshop, make a little 2x2 or a 4x4 grid, however many you want. And then all you've got to do is import that into Lightroom, and now you've got a color palette from any photographer that you want to edit like. It's a little bit of a hack, and I've been using this for years to keep my photos looking super, super consistent. Next up on the list is not using the masking tool. You know what? I'm going to say it. The masking tool is by far the most powerful tool inside of Lightroom. If you don't know what the masking tool is, it's pretty much a way that you can select certain parts of your image and just edit those specific parts. The changes that you can make nowadays are crazy, and the AI masking features that Lightroom have as well, they make things so easy. On screen now, you can see images before masking and after masking. The only difference between the before and afters of these images is purely me turning masking off and then me turning masking back on. Now, if you're sitting here wondering, Zach, I really want to get started with masking, but I have no idea where to get started, and arguably the masking tools are pretty overwhelming, so I would understand that. Well, I've got some pretty good news for you. If you head down to the first link in the description, I've just launched my brand new Lightroom course called the Lightroom Launchpad, where I walk you through absolutely everything you need to know to be able to edit your photos like a pro inside of Lightroom Classic, including my personal masking workflow, which I've been refining for the last maybe 6 to 7 years now. I also set you challenges to make sure everything that you are learning, you're actually being able to put it into practice and being able to use it in a real world example. If you're looking to seriously level up your photos this year and start using Lightroom effectively, go ahead and do yourself a favor by checking out the Lightroom Launchpad down below. It'll be the first link in the description, and I can't wait to see you on the inside. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Next up on the list is just clicking on a preset and thinking you're done with the edit. Now, don't get me wrong, presets are amazing, and presets can get you maybe sometimes 80 or even 90% of the way through a photo edit, but there are always going to be very small things that you're going to have to change and adjust to make sure that preset is working perfectly. Now, one of the most common things that you're going to have to change when you're working with presets is the intensity of that preset. So let me show you exactly how this is done. We're inside the Develop tab here, and if I open up my preset folder, let's close this one here. Let's open up my new Filmic Feels preset pack, and let's just simply scroll through a handful of these presets. Looking good so far. I would say maybe a handful of the presets at the start of this pack probably work best with this image. So maybe film 1 or film 2. Let's go with film 1 for now. I would still say this image is a little bit cool for my liking, so I'm gonna make my way over to the white balance slider and just increase the white balance ever so slightly. Maybe I shot with a little bit of a cold white balance, which is absolutely fine, but just taking the time to adjust this inside of the basic tab can have a huge effect on my shot. So now that we've corrected the white balance, we've applied our preset, now let's play around with the intensity of it. So what we're gonna do is we wanna make sure we have a preset enabled, we have a preset selected, and then all we're gonna do is come to this little slider right here, and what we can do is have a look at what things look like with less of that preset, and then more of that preset. I would say things are pretty much on the money at 100, but maybe increasing the intensity just a little bit to 113 makes this image look just right. Like I said before, presets are amazing and they speed up your workflow like crazy. Look how quickly we just edited that photo. However, usually just clicking on a preset isn't gonna be that golden bullet that takes your photo from 0 to hero. You might need to play around with a handful of settings, and when I mean a handful, we've only adjusted 2 here, and now I'm happy with this edit. Of course though, I haven't even started my masking workflow on this shot, so while it's pretty much good to go, a handful of masks could really spruce up this image a lot. All right, and last but not least is not leaning into the colors in your shot. Look, I can't lie. I have been a huge criminal in the case of not leaning into the colors in my shot. I'll put a handful of photos on screen now of what my images used to look like. I tried to paste the orange and teal look onto every single image I took, regardless if there was orange and teal even in the shot. Look, definitely not my proudest moment, my finest hour, or my best work, but we all start somewhere. And if I hadn't have made these mistakes, I wouldn't be here telling you today why you should be avoiding it, because I wouldn't have that experience under my belt. But just keep in mind that when it comes to photo editing, usually we're just looking to enhance reality. At least 99% of the time, that's what we're looking to do, okay? It's very hard to pull off crazy wild edits that just completely change our image like crazy, especially when we're just getting started with Lightroom. Anyway guys, that is gonna wrap up today's video. If you've enjoyed, let me know down in the comments below. If you're new around here, a subscribe would mean the absolute world. Once again, go ahead and check out the Lightroom Launchpad below this video, first link in the description, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.